Good evening, race fans. Welcome here to Circuit of the Americas for tonight's TKC National Series. My name is Robert Hill Jr. Joining me in the booth here tonight is Nick Stein with the great DJ Lion on the controls here this evening. Nick, welcome to one of the toughest circuits that we're going to visit this season with the very technical Circuit of the Americas here tonight.
Yeah, you are 100% right in saying that Circuit of the Americas is one of the trickiest tracks on the NASCAR schedule, and I would go ahead and put it up there with one of the trickiest tracks in America. This track is so flowy, it requires so much flow, it requires so much consistency, and if you can't bring any one of those to this track, you're going to have a rough night. So yeah, tonight's going to be all about being consistent and trying not to kill the turtles and the S's.
That's exactly right, Nick. As you take a look at the schedule here, of course, just 2 rounds to go after this one. We're going to be racing December 18th next Monday night at Charlotte. The week after that, of course, Santa Claus is coming to town, so we're going to be off. And then we'll wrap up the season at Dover with a bit of a New Year's Day race. That should be a fun one. But tonight, of course, Circuit of the Americas. And we saw some great action in practice here tonight, Nick. Some drivers trying to find that balance, find the limits of this racetrack. And why don't you walk us through some of the challenges these drivers might face throughout the race?
Well, I mean, the biggest and most challenging part of this track is going to be the S's. The S's are just the trickiest complex of corners on the NASCAR schedule. And of course, looking at the track information here, it's a 3.4-mile track with a lot of long straights, a lot of sharp corners, and a lot of fast corners out there as well. 20 turns here these guys are going to have to challenge themselves with. And as I was saying, COTA is a very tricky track, and you need the utmost consistency to do good here. And of course, these guys are having to deal with a very slidey car tonight with how this Xfinity car and some of the passing zones that you're going to be able to deal with here are going up in a turn 1. That's probably going to be your best overtaking opportunity, especially if you get a good run coming out of turn number 20. And then of course, heading down into turn 11 is another good passing opportunity. Of course, you need another good run out of 10. And then heading down the long back stretch into turn 12 is going to be another good passing zone. There's a lot of good passing zones here, but you just got to know how to set them up.
That's exactly it, Nick. And as we take a look at the point standings here tonight, Sam Bolin is your points leader by 42 points over Christian Leonard here tonight. Matt Haas in 3rd, Colin Grace 4th, and rounding out the top 5 here in points is Jake Ennis. And just taking a look at the field here tonight, Sam Bolin not out here. Neither is Christian Leonard. So good opportunity for tonight for the likes of Matt Haas and Colin Grace to try to close that gap and work their way towards the top of the point standings.
Yeah, and take a look at the current 5th place, Jake Ennis. I mean, he's got one that he can get back into this championship battle if he has a good run tonight, because you remember last week at Bristol, he lost that in a heartbreaking fashion, of course, losing by 1/1000th of a second there right at the end at Bristol Motor Speedway, which is by far one of the closest finishes I've seen in my broadcasting.
Yeah, you mentioned the gap in that one, 1/1000th of a second. That is one of the closest margins that you will see in auto racing, and one of the biggest heartbreaks that you're going to see as well. And this shot right here that we just had going up the hill into turn number 1, that, Nick, is another area of the racetrack that, yes, you're going to be able to have great passing opportunities, a very fast straightaway, but you're going into turn number 1 that turns into a hairpin and presents opportunity for disaster, as well as we are underway here in qualifying about 8 minutes into it here. Alex Penn, quickest so far, ahead of Zane Zadie, Wyatt Smith, Jake Ennis, and Colin Grace, the 5 cars that have taken time. Taking a look at the number 69 Prime Machine, that's Wyatt Smith, currently sitting on pit road. He's currently 3rd on the charts, so you may see him go back out here shortly, looking for an opportunity to potentially gain some ground, work his way up a little bit further there. And Nick, again, talking about turn 1 here at COTA, that is going to be a part of the racetrack that, yes, you're going to be side by side most likely coming up that straightaway, but as you head into turn number 1, like I mentioned, it does turn into a bit of a hairpin. And in practice tonight, we've seen drivers overdrive that corner, end up way off the racetrack, and I think that may be what we might call Calamity Corner as we head into tonight's round.
Yeah, turn one is by far one of the widest corners on the NASCAR schedule. Of course, it's a 133-foot rise up to the apex at turn number one. So these guys are probably going to be heading up on this initial start, probably going to be 3-4 wide going into the entry of turn one, and then they're going to have to squeeze it into a very tight corner. And of course, you take a look at some of the things that have happened in real life with some of the wrecks that have happened in the turn one, and we can do nothing but only expect a lot of calamity. And of course, taking a look at the weather here, 70-degree Fahrenheit air temperature, which is quite cool for May. Coming from someone who lives in Texas, it is quite cool for May out there.
Yeah, 90-degree track temperature this evening, so not too hot. So I wouldn't expect the track to be too slippery whatsoever, and very minimal winds here around 6 to 9 degrees Fahrenheit, and of course now dropping a little bit further. So that shouldn't come into play too much here tonight. But like you mentioned, one of the coolest corners at this racetrack is turn number one, because we are going to see some absolutely phenomenal shots from the cameras going up that hill portion towards turn number one. You see it right now. Just look at the elevation. It's almost straight up, Nick. That's quite the climb.
Oh yeah, one of the highest climbs in NASCAR. And what's really, really interesting about the front stretch at COTA is you go from the lowest point of the track at turn 20 to the highest point at turn one. It's exactly 133 feet of elevation change up to the apex of turn one, as I mentioned, and that's coming from turn 20 as well. So there's a lot of elevation here, and this is that's what makes COTA so fun, is you can brake so late going into turn one. It is crazy how late you can brake.
And one thing you're seeing in the shot as well is the end of the pit lane. So you have to stay to the left until that line ends. And what's going to happen is once you reach the end of the pit area, you're basically going directly into traffic in turn number one, and that could potentially lead to some chaos as well with green flag pit stops, because tonight we're not really expecting too much yellow action. As we've been told by the administration here tonight, the plan is just localized yellows. We're going to try to keep the full course cautions away here tonight so we can keep the green flag racing going and keep the action on the racetrack. As you can see here, the race analysis tonight, 23 laps, so should be a relatively quick race, around 50 minutes time if we do stay green. Pit road speed 40 miles per hour, 4 tire sets available in the pits, and like you see right there, no full course safety car expected this evening, so we should be sticking to those local yellows, and of course 2 fast repairs, giving these drivers an opportunity to reset the car should they have some issues out there on the racetrack.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to mention is that 4 sets of tires in the pits. These guys are going to be shredding through their tires. COTA is known for eating tires for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So these guys are really going to have to focus on especially saving those rear tires coming out of a lot of these hairpins, and more often keeping the tire temps down throughout the S's and going down the backstretch. So these guys are definitely going to have a test when it comes to how good they can save their tires.
Well, Nick, looks like we have hit the grid here. Qualifying is over. Alex Penn going to be on the pole in car number 30 alongside him in row number 1, Zane Zadie. Row number 2 is where we find the 69 of Wyatt Smith alongside the 25 of Jake Innes. Rounding out the top 5 here tonight is Colin Grace in car number 27 with Brandon Devine in the 57 on his outside. Nick, why don't you take us through the rest of the field here?
Starting in 7th position tonight is going to be Kevin Aguilar in the 4 car with Matt Hess to his outside, and then number 8. 99 of Christian Barker going to be starting in 9th position with Dylan Benson in the 41 starting 10th. And rounding out the field tonight, Philip I can't even pronounce that name. I'm sorry.
We're going to go with Drabczynski.
Drabczynski. Okay, I got to get used to that one. That's a name I have not seen before, so it's going to take me a while to get that one down.
Now, Nick, I typically like to do this in all the races that I call, but why don't we go ahead and make some race picks tonight? Who do you think has the best shot to take victory in this field tonight?
Well, if we're gonna look at just practice times and qualifying times alone, I mean, it is so difficult to not look at the 30 car of Alex Penn, but road courses are known for their unpredictability, not only when it comes to traffic, but how the start's going to play out. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at someone else, maybe Zane Zadie or Wyatt Smith, but it's hard not to pick the 30 of Alex Penn.
And It's going to be so hard that I am going to take the 30 of Alex Penn here tonight. He was the quickest in practice, quickest in qualifying, and he actually had a substantial margin in practice as well. He was in the 118s with the rest of the field hanging around the 123 mark. Or 218 and 223 marks, I should say. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this race goes tonight. And Alex Penn, a very strong road course racer. I've seen him in numerous leagues, numerous series, and he's always one to compete with here tonight. So watch for that 30 to try to pull away right from the start here, as looks like we're going to continue to work our way down towards the start finish line. Pace car is off. Alex Penn is going to be the control car as we work our way off at turn number 20 down the front straightaway. He's going to find the loud pedal here and set us underway momentarily. It's Alex Penn, Zane Zadie on the front row. Just waiting for that green flag, and we are underway already. Looking 3 wide. That is the 69 machine of Wyatt Smith with an early jump. We're going to be 3 wide up into turn number 1. Penn going to clear as we have contact already. Zadie goes around, Nick. That is what we talked about. Turn number 1, Calamity Corner, causes Zane Zadie to go around.
And we're side by side for the lead right now. Alex Penn just got passed by Wyatt Smith in the 69. Going through the S's here. This is the most difficult part of the track for these drivers. Not really able to keep on the loud pedal or the gas pedal for that matter. And looks like things are getting a little bit close there. Wyatt Smith may be getting a little bit of a bump from the 30 of Alex Penn through the S's. And as I said, one of the trickiest parts of this track is Alex Penn's going to hit the sausage curb coming out of turn number 9.
Penn getting a good bit of air there as Wyatt Smith does clear. You got to remember here, Smith got a phenomenal restart as we load up the Maconi Entertainment replay machine. Look at the action into turn number 1. Not sure who that gray and red car is there, but he absolutely missed the corner completely. That is the 41 machine of Dylan Benson. Just missed turn number 1 completely into the side of Zane Zadie, sends him around as we see the 4 machine of Kevin Aguilar also around on the racetrack. He's going to have to gather it back up and work his way back forward. But Wyatt Smith leading the way here. Alex Penn second. Alex Penn gets to his outside. They're going to be side by side. Looks like Smith gets by the 27 machine, goes around. That's Colin Grace. We saw him get substantial air in practice earlier tonight, Nick. Looks like he's continuing to struggle here early on.
Yeah, COTA is one of those tracks where you need to get into a groove early or you're not going to have a very good race. And looks like a lot of people are struggling to really get into that groove. Is right there. That's the 57 of Brandon Devine getting it all sorts of wrong there in the triple left, or excuse me, the triple right-hander, which of course is based off of turn 8, 9, and 10 at the Istanbul Park circuit there in Turkey. And this is just a track that's so much fun. As Wyatt Smith's going to go off on the exit at turn number 20, and that's going to give the lead back to the 30 of Alex Penn. And of course, this is where we start the long climb back up towards turn 1. Look how steep that hill is.
Yeah, absolutely. A very steep hill, Nick. And you see Wyatt Smith sending it a little bit deeper into turn number 1, trying to close that gap here on Alex Penn, setting himself up for a good run. Jake Innes goes around in car 25, nearly collects others as he's going to take a tow back to pit road. Going to grab one of his resets here tonight. And just an update, Philip Drabczynski did not make the start here. He may join the field as we are underway. A bit of contact there. Wyatt Smith, Alex Penn, as we load up the Maconi Entertainment replay machine, watching the 25 of Jake Innes. Looks like he just gets a little too hot into turn 1, goes around. I believe that was the 41 of Dylan Benson that got into the rear end of him there as he was around. But we're going to continue under green here. It is Alex Penn ahead by less than a tenth of a second. Now is Wyatt Smith going to get side by side and take the advantage now ahead of Alex Penn. Penn going to look for the crossover. Smith on the right side, Penn over there on the left, as Penn going to now try to get a bit of a draft uphill here and work his way back to the race lead. But Wyatt Smith, your leader over Alex Penn, Dylan Benson, Christian Barker, and Brandon Devine here on lap number 2.
Yeah, I'm sitting here watching Alex Penn and Wyatt Smith kind of battle it out here, and I can tell Alex Penn makes a move to the inside to turn number 12 there on the 69 of Wyatt Smith. As I was saying, you can tell Alex Penn is saving his tires right now because he's running about a second or so slower than what he was able to do in qualifying, which very easily indicates that he is trying to save his rear tires, whereas you take a look at the 69 of Wyatt Smith, he's getting on the gas as hard as he can, trying everything he can to keep that 30 of Alex Penn behind. So Wyatt Smith keeps going at this rate. I don't think we're going to see Wyatt Smith in the lead that much longer. As I say that, he's drifting through the triple right-hander there. And Alex Penn looks like he's just holding back, kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with the 69.
Now, Nick, this is my first time here with the TKC National Series, but you can really see that these guys are go-kart racers. They don't calm down for any matter of time. They're just go, go, go. We're going to send it. We're going to dive to the inside, dive to the outside, as we are side by side. Penn gets the lead over Wyatt Smith now up into turn number 1, and here comes Smith again. Look, there's another dive to the left side of Alex Penn. Wyatt Smith going to have the advantage here. Penn off on the right side, able to use a bit of that curving to see what he can do. Matt Haas has a moment. It looks like he's able to gather it back up. Brandon Devine also went off the racetrack for a moment, a little bit further back, but keeping an eye on this front battle. Wyatt Smith got a bit of air there as well, as we do see 4 cars under a blanket here. Thanks to DJ for the camera work here. That is the 11 of Zane Zadie, as Dylan Benson has a bit of a moment. The 57 machine of Brandon Devine and the 99 of Christian Barker all there together out on the racetrack jockeying for position. That is, I believe, 3rd through 6th right now as we ride on board with Brandon Devine in car 57. Devine chasing down Zane Zadie. Yeah, you see Halloween on board the 11 of Zane Zadie. I think he got his a bit of contact there between Zadie and Benson, but I do think Zadie might have messed up his holidays here, as we are 2 weeks from Christmas today.
Oh, Dylan Benson using everything out of the rear tires there. Oh man, as you were saying though, I think he is getting his holidays a little bit mixed up there. We're, as you said, about 2 months removed from Halloween, so where's
Wyatt Smith way off the racetrack there, Nick. He's using every inch of that racetrack. DJ made the comment earlier on in practice that he's using every inch of this track that he paid for tonight.
Yeah, I mean, that's the fun part about COTA. There's so much runoff here, but unfortunately, with the way the track limits work, you can only use to the exit of the curbs. I've been asking forever to be able to get the NASCAR track limits here, which basically means no track limits, because that would make this track so much more fun, just being able to go as wide as you want off the corner.
Wow.
Still side by side, though, here for the lead between these two guys. That is Wyatt Smith and Alex Penn. Again, Penn around the outside. That's not something you see every day on the exit of turn 19, but coming off of number 20, who gets the better exit here, as it looks like for now Wyatt Smith in the 69 does. And here comes Alex Penn once again, though. He's looking like, again, trying to save his tires just a little bit, as these guys have been going tooth and nail for the last couple of laps.
This is an absolute cluster we have here. That is Zane Zadie, Dylan Benson, Brandon Devine, and Christian Barker all together. Matt Haas has a moment again. He ends up going pitch side as we ride on board here with Zane Zadie. That's the 41 of Dylan Benson taking a dive to his inside. Benson hits the curbing, nearly gets into the side of Zadie. Brandon Devine does a nice job of avoiding the rear end of the 41 machine. That could have turned into a bigger incident than it needed to be, as it looks like the contact continues a little bit further back. But I quickly want to touch on the line that Alex Penn was using out of turn number 20. That can actually be a bit of an advantage, as the 99 of Christian Barker goes around, gathers it back up without hitting the wall. But as I was saying, the outside lane out of 20 might be a little bit of an advantage, because you're holding that guy on the inside back from being able to push all the way to the exit, maximizing his speed, as you're just locking him down. A bit of contact again. Wyatt Smith, Alex Penn just absolutely continuing to beat and bang with each other up here, and Zane Zadie's cut about a second and a half into their lead over the last lap or so, as these two continue to duke it out rather hard here at COTA. 4 laps in, 20 laps to go.
Yeah, this is one of the fun parts about Circuit of the Americas. It's just how often overtaking opportunities come up. As it seems like every time we look back at this battle for the lead, these two are either side by side or dive bombing us. There's a little bit of contact between
Penn around
Smith and Alex Penn. Oh man,
Alex Penn missing his front bumper. He is not going to be pleased with the 69 of Wyatt Smith. I don't think he has too much damage aside from missing that front bumper here, so expect that to get repaired when he does come down pit road a little bit later on for fuel and tires on board that 30 machine. But Alex Penn definitely not going to be pleased. As we take a look here on the replay machine, you see the 30 of Penn on the outside. That's the 69 of Wyatt Smith just behind him. Smith takes a dive into the corner, gets into the left rear of Alex Penn. Then that contact as Smith exits the scene is what ended up taking the nose off of the Alex Penn car. But Penn still staying within fighting distance here of Wyatt Smith. But don't look now, Zane Zadie has now cut 5 seconds into that lead after the scuffle. Penn's going to send it here. He wants that spot, and he's going to get it. I think Wyatt Smith might have given him a little bit of an opportunity to come back there after the accidental contact.
Yeah, but as you say that, here comes Wyatt Smith once again. He thought about going side by side through the S's there, and this is where Alex Penn is going to struggle without that front bumper. Is here in the S's, these cars don't produce a lot of downforce, but one thing that helps these cars turn is that front splitter, and the 30 of Alex Penn not having that splitter is really going to affect the handling. I mean, as I say that, though, he pulls a couple of tenths off of Wyatt Smith, as Wyatt Smith seems to be drifting a little bit, doing a little bit of Fast and Furious Tokyo drift style there.
Yeah, you have to wonder, too, how these guys' tires are stacking up right now. They've been pushing very, very hard in the early stages of today's race. Alex Penn now leads by 1.2 seconds over Wyatt Smith. Zane Zadie now just under 6 seconds back as you see him struggling there, cranking that steering wheel, trying to find that happy spot for his number 11 machine on the racetrack as he currently runs in that third spot in a bubble, 5 seconds ahead and 5 seconds behind for Zane Zadie, as we see Colin Grace in the 27 machine getting passed by Christian Barker. Barker had an advantage there, now finds himself in position number 6 as Colin Grace trying to battle back. You see Kevin Aguilar come into the picture there as well. That's him in the 4 machine trying to catch up to those guys. He wants to have a little bit of fun as well, Nick.
Yeah, that's. I wanted to go back to something you'd mentioned in that last little bit there, is the tire saving. There's no right way to save tires here. It's only going to be least worst. Whoever can keep the most rubber on their car is going to be the one who's going to be fastest throughout the run. As I said earlier, COTA is just one of those tracks known for eating tires for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There's a little bit of contact between Dylan Benson and the 57 of Brandon Devine there. Both of them keep it straight, though, but...
Looks like they were eating each other for breakfast.
Oh, man. Yeah, they were getting a little bit wild there as Alex Penn setting the new fastest lap of the race there with a 2:19.4 without a front bumper.
Yeah, the weight shedding on that 30 machine seems to have helped him out a little bit there. The 41 of Benson absolutely sideways in that last shot that you saw. He's able to gather it back up. Wyatt Smith has lost position. Number 2 is Zane Zadie goes around after contact with Wyatt Smith.
Oh no, more contact between Wyatt Smith and another driver.
This is what Alex Penn wants. He's now got a lead of 14 seconds over Wyatt Smith.
And that's going to be the best thing. Man, what the heck?
Zane Zadie came in like a wrecking ball. That's not Miley, that's Zane as he comes in absolutely. There you go. Cautions out, full course yellow. I don't know that this is done here, guys. We got to watch Wyatt. He might come back at Zane after that incident.
Oh, man, I would watch down in a turn 11. I think that's where we're going to see a takeout shot for Wyatt Smith there, as Zane Zadie not happy with that 69 machine. But
wow,
I want to keep an eye on this. I agree with you. I don't think this is over at all.
We're watching the initial incident here. Actually, no, this is the retaliation. Zane just decided throttle pedal only as he absolutely destroys that 69 machine of Wyatt Smith. Here's the initial contact. You see Zane come into the corner here. A little bit of contact. We can just imagine it here as we work to get a different camera shot. All of a sudden they're around. That's a bit of magic on the racetrack. Wow.
Yeah, I want to get a new camera view with this because... Okay, here's that second camera view as Zadie sending it from a mile and a half back, and I don't think Wyatt Smith realized he was there. So I'm not 100% sure what the retaliation.
I think Wyatt Smith was a little upset that Zane dove it in so hard into the corner and might have hooked him there at the exit of that corner. But then Zane decides, yeah, I'm coming back. I'm taking you out now, and just full sends it into the side of the Wyatt Smith machine. Great work by the administration to throw that full course yellow to avoid further incident. Get all the drivers back to pit road, give them an opportunity to use those fast repairs. You know Alex Penn's going to use it. He has damage. Zane Zadie, Wyatt Smith, they're going to need some repairs as well on board their machines. Well, Wyatt Smith going to stay out. Zane Zadie coming to pit road. You got to wonder if potentially he was told he had to come to pit road there.
Yeah, I think he may have had a little bit of required repairs there. As yeah, he does have a quote-unquote meatball flag there, which is telling him he needs to come in and get repairs. Is got some extracurriculars going on between Dylan Benson and Wyatt Smith under caution. It's like these two aren't happy with each other. A little bit of contact into turn one, and
Wyatt Smith not making too many friends on the racetrack here so far tonight, Nick. Had issues with Zane Zadie, had issues now with Benson, also issues with Penn earlier on. It's stacking up, and you don't want to have too many enemies here on the road courses because they can make your life hell pretty darn quick.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say that these two are, I don't know if they're having fun with each other or if one of them's genuinely mad at the other, but you are exactly right. You do not want enemies at a road course, especially a road course like COTA with how difficult this track can be to pass at, because if you have a lot of enemies, then they have no problem using the bumper to get by you. And yeah, it's a bit interesting between these two. I'm not sure what's going on.
And we're going to go ahead and step away here for a moment. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll take you through the rest of the action here today. It's the TKC Nationals live from COTA.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
We are back here at COTA. It's the TKC National event here tonight. Alex Penn leads over Brandon Devine, Dylan Benson, Wyatt Smith, and Christian Barker. That's your top 5 as they run. Nick, we had quite the action before the caution break here as the field is coming down pit road. Alex Penn going to grab himself a new nose, and some of these guys going to get some damage repaired as looks like the action continuing on pit road.
Yeah, so Wyatt Smith and Dylan Benson were having a few extracurriculars before before we went to break, and I've been listening to the race control chatter, and I will say this: race control is not happy with the 69 of Wyatt Smith, so I may expect a penalty or something if this keeps up with the way the 69's racing. But these guys are still mostly clean cars with that fast repair. As you see, Alex Penn does take that fast repair and gets that front bumper back, and he will be off and away, starting first position on this restart.
Yeah, currently showing Zane Zadie as the leader, but he did come down pit road with a closed pit entry, so he'll be assessed an end of the longest line penalty, most likely here on this restart, giving that lead back to Alex Penn, with Wyatt Smith going to be starting on his outside, Dylan Benson, Brandon Devine just behind them. These guys in the top four, Penn has had issues with Smith tonight. Benson has had issues with Smith as well. Zane Zadie also having issues with Wyatt Smith here tonight. So, Nick, do you expect the drama to continue as the event goes on here? And actually, just quickly, you can see right there, the track temperature has actually fallen from the start of the race. We started at 90 degrees. Now it's cooled down 7 degrees to 83. So track getting a little bit cooler as this race advances on.
Yeah, it will continue to get cooler as well as we go a little bit later into the day. We're sitting at about 5:12 p.m. in sim right now, so yeah, the track will only fall when it comes to the temperatures. But you were right. I do think that the action is going to continue, because Larry Mack saying cautions breed cautions. It's the same thing with drama on the track. Drama breeds drama.
That's exactly it. Taking a look here at Alex Penn, he is your leader. He's led, he hasn't led every lap because Wyatt Smith has gotten a couple laps led as well, but Penn having a very, very strong run here tonight, has led the most laps thus far here tonight, and 5 of the laps so far out of 7.5 that we've run, coming around 8 this time, still 16 to go.
I will say that I did hear race control just come over and say that if things continue the way they have been over the last 8 or so laps, that they're going to start handing out harsher and harsher penalties. Of course, no penalties have been handed out just yet, but if things continue with the wrecking and all the extracurriculars we have seen, I do think that some penalties will start to be handed out.
You definitely need to look at the opportunity to hand out those penalties should it be needed. We definitely don't want the race to step away. It is a smaller field at 10 cars here this evening, but they've put on great action so far. You don't want them out there destroying each other, eliminating drivers from what could be a good race for some of these guys. And we're just waiting now for the restart, which should be about 15 laps to go. And I think we're in for quite a bit of action here in the middle portion of today's race. You have Penn and Smith back together once again. And these drivers, of course, have beaten bang off of each other all night long thus far and have fought very, very hard for position.
Yeah, and I do think that's going to continue throughout the night. The battling and the position battles have been absolutely insane. So I do expect that to continue, but yeah, to see how this plays out. I'm kind of sitting here on the edge of my seat waiting for this green flag to come back out, because we know some of the beef that's been going on between these drivers, and you and I both know that, oh man, things can get interesting if you have beef with another driver bad enough.
I mean, we just saw it there. Zane Zadie absolutely driving through the Wyatt Smith machine after some contact leading to a spin of the Zane Zadie machine. But we'll see what happens on this upcoming restart. Just waiting for that the pace car to head to pit lane and set us free once again. There he goes. Pace car is off. We're going to hand the field over to the control of Alex Penn behind the wheel, the number 30 machine. Remember, Wyatt Smith got a phenomenal start on the initial green flag. Look for him to get a nice jump once again. Green flag, and we are underway. Alex Penn leads us up towards turn number 1 with Dylan Benson in car number 41 just behind him. And Benson gets hit by Wyatt Smith. Smith gonna dive it in there. Benson slides off of turn number 1. He nearly gets the outside wall, able to gather it back up. That was a bit of contact there once again between Wyatt Smith and Dylan Benson, and they had issues under caution. So the drama has indeed continued to green flag racing once again. Nick Stein. Whoa!
Christian Parker hitting the turtles there.
He hit his pogo stick, Nick. Wow. He thought he was playing a game of hopscotch out here. No, we are racing, Christian, not playing hopscotch, as he decided he was going up in the air. That's absolutely wild that race cars can do such a thing.
Nah, he wasn't playing hopscotch. He was just doing a quick little suspension test, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm pretty sure his suspension may be shot after that hit.
Something shot in that car after that hit. That was absolutely wild, as Christian Barker was able to do a 360 and gather that car back up. Continuing on here, some cars ahead of him still in reach. Kevin Aguilar, Dylan Benson, so he may have an opportunity to race back out there, but Alex Penn currently leading by half a second over Wyatt Smith. Smith trying to close that gap. You can see it there on that shot. The 57 Brandon Devine currently holding on to position number 3, just ahead of Zane Zadie and Colin Grace. Grace has had a quiet night here tonight, but with the way this race has gone, I think you want to have a quiet night, Nick.
Oh, Wyatt Smith locking up big time there.
Wow.
Into turn number 7, or I believe that's number 16, actually. Yeah, here's 17, 18. No. This is 16, 17, 18. I'm getting my corners mixed up here, man. I'm supposed to know this road course by like the back of my hand, and I can't even name the corners here.
I believe Christian Barker just had another incident towards the rear of the field, but watching this battle up front, Alex Penn does lead over the 69 of Wyatt Smith. Smith using all the racetrack here. He's going way off the track and absolutely slideways up towards turn number 1 here down the front straightaway.
Now heading up into turn 1, as I said earlier, hardest braking point on the track. You're going almost dead uphill, so you can brake a lot later. Oh man, Wyatt Smith really abusing that curb there. Abusing the turtles like they're not even there in the 69 machine. Looking back at this battle here, this is Colin Grace, Brandon Devine. I believe Zane Zadie is right at the front of this battle as well. And yeah, these guys have been at each other's throats pretty much all night, as Brandon Devine sliding it a little bit there into the S's. On board with Colin Grace through the S's. Oh man, getting a little bit close to that curb. Of course, that's where all the grip is, was right on the edge of the curbs. And of course, if you get 1 inch too close to those curbs, you're gonna go flying like we saw Christian Barker do.
That's exactly it. Trying to avoid the curbing here tonight, absolutely key. We're now 10 laps in, 14 laps to go, as it is Alex Penn, Wyatt Smith, Zane Zadie, Brandon Devine, and Colin Grace, the top 5. As you see Grace take a look to the inside of Devine. Devine now falls back to 5th as Grace locks it up, gets a little bit sideways himself in contact. That's the 27 of Colin Grace going around off the nose of Brandon Devine in the 57 machine, and Grace going to spin it back onto the racetrack nearly into the 99 of Christian Barker, as Grace now falls from 4th all the way back to position number 8 on the racetrack. That was a wild sequence of events right there.
Yeah, that's the hard part about racing at COTA, is just keeping that consistency up. And even if you have a small mistake like that, like we saw Colin Grace have there, that's the detriment of making even the tiniest mistake, is you lose a ton of time and a ton of positions. He went from 4th to 8th and lost a solid 25 seconds in that entire sequence of events there. But still, looking at, as we're side by side here, that's Brandon Devine and Wyatt Smith.
Wow, Smith all the way back to 4th now, Nick. Zane Zadie got through to 2nd. Brandon Devine now 3rd, as Wyatt Smith falling back through the field now finds himself in 4th, 12 seconds behind Alex Penn. So something went terribly wrong for Wyatt Smith over the last couple of laps, and he has lost, or actually last handful of corners, as he's just going to dive through Brandon Devine. He wants the spot, and well, he's going to do whatever the heck he wants to get it.
As we got a little bit of synchronized spinning going on in the back.
Kevin Aguilar goes around as well, Nick. He's able to gather it back up after he goes for a nice slide.
Yeah, I was going to say, we got a little bit of synchronized spinning going on, as I believe Wyatt Smith had gotten quite loose coming up. Or no, I believe it was the 41 of Dylan Benson that had gotten quite sideways there off the final corner. But I'll tell you what, quietly, as we're watching this battle on track, Wyatt Smith and Brandon Devine side by side through the S's. Wyatt Smith getting on those sausage curbs and losing himself a little bit of time. Going to hit one again, and that's the one bad part about those sausage curbs, is if you hit them, you don't really get away with it at COTA. If you hit those curbs, you're going to go flying and you're going to lose a ton of time. But one thing I did want to mention is Very quietly, as I say that though, Dylan Benson, Brandon Devine, excuse me, getting into it with each other there, coming off the exit of the S's through turn number 9 and heading down into turn 10. Will we see a dive bomb here? Yes, we will.
One thing to keep mind of here, look at who's together. There we go. I was just about to call it out. The 41 of Benson and the 69 of Wyatt Smith coming back together. And remember, they had issues earlier on. Full course yellow out once again here. Actually, yeah, that is another full course yellow, as we did have Smith and Benson once again.
Yeah, these two getting into it once again, as you mentioned, and looks like these two, I'm not sure if they're being friends with each other. Man, Christian Barker said he's had enough with the 69 of Wyatt Smith and just sends him for a ride heading down into turn number 12 there. Oh man, things are getting a little bit wild here.
Well, we could keep track of how many friends Wyatt Smith has tonight on 0 fingers, because absolutely everyone having issues with him tonight, riding on board with Dylan Benson. Yeah, he just sent it. He just went for the kill right there.
Yeah, kill shot engaged right there, and unfortunately took out a couple of other cars with it. But one thing I wanted to mention in that entire sequence is Alex Penn just quietly ran a lap that was almost 3 seconds faster than anyone else has run. He ran a 2-minute 17.1, but I don't think it was an official fastest lap, as it hasn't posted on iRacing. It's still showing him as the fastest lap of a 2:19.4, but iRacing is showing him with a 2:17.1 on the last lap before that caution.
So I believe he had a brief off-track moment throughout that lap, which would have invalidated his quick time, but that is absolutely ridiculous that he's going that fast here around this racetrack. But Alex Penn, Zane Zadie, Brandon Devine, Wyatt Smith, Christian Barker, Colin Grace, Dylan Benson, and Kevin Aguilar, the 8 cars still out here on the racetrack. And for a small field, this has been one heck of an action-filled event.
Oh yeah, these guys have been putting on a show tonight, and it is showed not only with the racing, but just the overall drama involved with this race. And these guys are definitely putting on a show, as you mentioned. And I'll tell you what, though, I wanted to go back to that fastest lap by Alex Penn. That's encroaching on what the Cup cars can run here. And you and I both know the Cup cars are absolutely insane at a track like COTA. I believe world records were sitting, actually, no, I think we're still about 6 or 7 seconds off what the Cup car can run here.
Yeah, it's absolutely a very, very fast lap for Penn. Like you mentioned, very close to what the Cup cars have run here at COTA as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if he goes even quicker if he's able to get a long green flag run here, burn the fuel down a bit, and able to work his way to a quicker time. But we're going to step away here once again. We're going to have a quick commercial break, but stay with us here. It's the TKC National live from COTA.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
We are back here. It's the TKC Nationals live from COTA here tonight. And as they say, everything's bigger in Texas, and that includes the brawls that we've seen out on the racetrack here tonight. Christian Barker, Dylan Benson, and Wyatt Smith all coming together. But my name is Robert Hill Jr. Joining me in the booth tonight is Nick Stein. And Nick, you had a look at some statistics during our commercial break, and why don't you let us know some of the information that you found out when it comes to quick times by some of the drivers in the field here tonight?
Well, Alex Penn, he is set an unofficial iRacing world record with his fastest lap of a 2:17.143. I took a look at the iRacing world records, and the fastest lap that I saw for the Xfinity cars at COTA as of the 2023 Season 2 was a 2:17.456. So as of now, Alex Penn owns a world record unofficially.
That is an absolute flyer, as we are under pit stops here. Looks like everyone wrapping up their stops. Brandon Devine in the 57 has opted to stay out. I think he's just trying to lead a lap here, but he leads over Alex Penn, Zane Zadie, Dylan Benson, and Kevin Aguilar currently, as Wyatt Smith, Christian Barker, Colin Grace, and Matt Haas currently sitting on pit road as we ride on board here with Brandon Devine. He's currently running in that first spot. He last pit about 6 or so laps ago, as we may see him come down this time after getting that lap-led bonus point, Nick.
Yeah, I do think that's what he's doing, but I do notice that we've had some extracurriculars going on while we were going down pit road. Christian Barker was given a black flag for turning the 69 of Wyatt Smith on the entry of pit road. Get a replay of that real quick. I want to see what kind of happened.
Now, I wonder if there's anyone in the field, as you do see there, penalty issue to Christian Barker in the 99, like you mentioned, but I wonder if there's anyone in this field tonight that does not have issues with the 69 of Wyatt Smith.
Philip Drabczynski? I think I said that right.
And he didn't even start. So
Jake Ennis, maybe?
I don't know. I don't remember how Jake ended up out of this one, but quite possible that it had to do with that 69 of Wyatt Smith. And speaking of Wyatt Smith, he's still sitting on pit road. Smith, Grace, and Haas all sitting there on pit road here currently. Gotta wonder, has he used up his fast repairs already?
That would be my guess, as they were only given 2, and we've seen Wyatt Smith on pit road 3 times thus far, this being his 3rd time coming down pit road. So I do think that he may be getting repairs fixed since he has used all of his fast repairs. But I think we have shortened the caution, so now it is 1 lap to green as we see Wyatt Smith pull away. But these guys are going down the backstretch towards turn 12 now, coming to the green flag. So Wyatt Smith is gonna have to get it in high gear if he wants any chance of catching the field before the green flag.
Well, if he doesn't catch the field, then this might be the first set of laps that he doesn't have contact with another car out there on the field, as that was quite the busy opening stint to tonight's race for Wyatt Smith. Some incidents of his own doing, and some a bit of retribution as well. So we'll see what happens here. We are about halfway through the event, just a little bit more than halfway. 11 laps to go, 10 when we do go green. And these drivers are going to be racing against the clock as well. Just about 30 minutes left in the session. If we do get another full course yellow, that could definitely lower the lap count that we're facing tonight. But we'll see what they can do. Once again, Brandon Devine is the race leader. Alex Penn was dominant in that last stint. Now he's going to look to pull away from Devine on this restart. Dylan Benson, Zane Zadie in row number 2. Row 3, Kevin Aguilar and Christian Barker. And row 4 slated to be Wyatt Smith and Colin Grace. And I do believe actually that Wyatt Smith is not going to be able to catch the field for this restart.
Well, they have extended the caution. The pace car lights are back on, so we will not be going green right here. And I thought for just a second that the 57 of Brandon Devine may have thought about coming down pit road really quickly, but I do believe that once pit road closes under caution, it does not get reopened at all. So Brandon Devine not getting the opportunity to pit there, with these guys having to sit under caution for one more lap at one of the longest pace laps on iRacing.
Yeah, these pace laps about 4.5 minutes each, so very, very long pace laps for these drivers. And like we mentioned, already racing against the clock here tonight. We're going to restart with 9 laps to go, and you are correct. Once pit road is closed, it doesn't reopen unless it's manually reopened by the administrators of the race. He could have come down, and he would have just been issued a penalty. I believe it's an end of longest line penalty, but it could be a hold in the pits as well, which you definitely don't want to deal with. But with the shorter length of time to the finish of the race, maybe he feels like this could be his best opportunity to get a good finish.
Yeah, I think, as you did mention, we only have just under 30 minutes left in this time session, because the way that these sessions work, especially in league sessions, is you can set an amount of laps, but if you run over the time you set for the session, then the session automatically finishes the race right there. So these guys have an hour and 10 minutes for this race, or 23 laps, whichever comes first. Now, the majority of the time, it is the laps that come first, and the session just kind of ends right there as soon as these guys finish the amount of laps given. But right now, as you see right there, 29 minutes and 40 seconds until this race, for lack of a better word, just displays the checkered flag and gives these guys enough time to come around and finish their lap to complete the race, basically.
So when we do go green, we should have about 26 or so minutes remaining in the session, 9 laps of racing to do. We should be able to get it in, I do believe, unless we do see another full course yellow. But looks like the whole field has caught up to the group, as we see Colin Grace on the tail end of the field here, just behind the 69 of Wyatt Smith, as Dylan Benson goes around in car number 41.
Okay.
He was just testing track limits there under caution. That's all that was, Nick.
Yeah, you just got to find where the incident threshold is, just to make sure you know exactly how far you can go before you get an off track. But one thing I did want to mention, that you had mentioned, if we get another full course caution, that we may have run into time issues. And based on some quick, very crude math, if we do get another full course caution at any point in this race, this final 10 laps, we will run into a time problem, because these guys are averaging about 2-minute 18. Let's put it at 2-minute 19 second lap times with how fast Alex Penn is running. So I think that if we do get another full course yellow, then we most definitely will run into some timing issues with how the session is set up. And take a look at these weather conditions one more time. That track temp has fallen about 1 more degree from the last time we looked at it. So these guys looking like they're wanting to set some fast lap times here, especially the 30 of Alex Penn.
Yeah, Penn going to be looking for a very quick restart here. Try to get by that Brandon Devine machine, not have to deal with him into turn number 1. And I think we might see a couple more lunges here into turn 1 as we do head for the restart here, as these drivers know that this is possibly their final attempt to get there with the 30 of Penn, as he's just been so quick here tonight.
Yeah, that's one thing Alex Penn does not want. He doesn't want any more restarts, because that gives more opportunities, as you said, to get some dive bombs sent on him. And based on how we've seen these 2 or 3 restarts go, turn 1 is an absolute nightmare for these guys. So we'll have to see how this is all going to play out here. But for now, it looks like Alex Penn needs to have eyes in the back of his head, for lack of a better word.
That's absolutely it, as the pace car is getting set to go pit side here. I believe we're just a couple of corners away. There's pit entry. So pace car gonna head pit side. Brandon Devine, the control car, in the 57. He's on the left side here. That's gonna be Penn on his outside, and car number 30 they're gonna come up the front straightaway, heading for the green flag. And it's a great jump here for Devine. Devine gonna take the lead here as we head up towards turn number 1. He's going to get ahead of Alex Penn. Actually, Penn going to stay on his right side here as here comes Wyatt Smith, absolutely diving it in. Gets by Benson. Benson goes for a slide. Barker goes off the racetrack. That was quite the kerfuffle there, but Alex Penn able to clear Brandon Devine, and he does take the lead once again. But Wyatt Smith here in that third spot, you can expect that we're going to get a lunge out of him anytime now, as he's going to want to quickly clear the Brandon Devine machine and set his sights on the 30 of Alex Penn.
Yeah, it looks like for the most part, we got through turn 1 cleanly for the first time in a while. As I say that, though, the 69 of Wyatt Smith, an absolute dive bomb on Brandon Devine there in the S's. That's not a place you normally see a pass attempted there, but good thing on the 69 for being resourceful there with how he gets his positions, and he did it cleanly, so there's no complaints from anyone, it sounds like.
Devine got a little bit bent out of shape as Benson gets completely sideways there just behind in position number 5 here, as we see the 11 of Zane Zadie just a little bit further back from the leaders. Currently running in that third spot, started second here tonight on the outside of that front row alongside Alex Penn. Now has his eyes set on the 69 as Smith goes off the racetrack. Oh, we have some contact. Brandon Devine, Dylan Benson come together and go way off the racetrack. That's the 4 of Kevin Aguilar side by side with Benson. A little bit of a blink out of that machine as here comes the 27 of Colin Grace trying to work his way forward as well. Some shuffling of spots there from about 4th on back. Devine through Aguilar. That's 4th through 7th now as, wow, Wyatt Smith sideways trying to chase down Alex Penn.
Yeah, Wyatt Smith is trying to get everything he can out of that 69 machine, and I mean, Exhibit A right there, he's just using as much of the track as he can to try and get any closer than he already is to that 30 of Alex Penn. Alex Penn going to set a 217.2 there on the first lap off of a restart, so that 30 machine he is primed to set some incredibly quick lap times right now, and I kind of want to take a lap on board with the 30, just kind of watch what he does if we can with the 30 of Alex Penn. And I guess
he just ran a 217.2, Nick Stein.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I did say that he ran that off of a restart, so that's why I kind of want to watch a lap here and see if we can pick up kind of what he's doing. As coming through the S's, you can just see exactly how precise you need to be with the Cup cars here at COTA, as all the grip is right there on the edge of the curbs. And you see right here, he's going to use all the track through this final part of the S's, and through turn 9, this is the trickiest corner of the track, just how difficult the traction is. And then down through the kink at turn number 10, it's so hard to keep the balance of grip. And heading into turn number 11, one of the harder braking zones on the track. And this is a crucial corner because it sets up your run onto this long, never-ending back straightaway down towards the hardest braking zone on the track, which is turn 12. And I mean, you're just sitting here waiting. You know the corner is coming, but as you head down and you start to see the brake markers line up, slam on the brakes right at the start of the curb. Get it down all the way into first gear. Just kind of ease the car in. Hit that curb as aggressive as you are willing to. And then now turn number 13, the start of the 2 double apex corners here. The first one, a very sharp right hand. Turn 14, kind of flat. Now heading into turn 15, you're gonna have to turn while braking. It is important to not lock up into 16, and now turn 17, 18, and 19, the triple right-hander here, based off of turns 8, 9, and 10 at the Istanbul Park circuit. One of the trickier complexes here on the track. And now turn number 19, this is another crucial corner here. It is so difficult to keep the balance of grip going. And now turn number 20, setting up for the run, heading back onto the front straightaway, another crucial corner here. And that's going to be a lap here at COTA. Let's see what kind of lap time he's going to run here, as crossing the line, 217.228.
Wow, that was basically the exact same as what he ran for his quick time. We do have a battle here for second, though. Zane Zadie, Wyatt Smith side by side. Zadie on the inside, Smith on the outside, as they duke it out here for that second spot. Smith into the back of Zadie here. all over the rear end of the 11 machine. He thinks it's Halloween, but he doesn't care. He just wants the candy here tonight, as he's got no tricks, all treats tonight, as he's working his way. Wow, he goes way off the racetrack and decides to make his own lane. I guess he does have tricks, Nick.
I'm a little bit speechless after that, but yeah, he's gonna have a slowdown penalty after that.
You have to wonder if potentially coming into some of these tighter and slower corners, if the slowdown penalty is kind of going to work itself out.
It's based off of your average speed throughout the lap. So if Zain Zaidi has been really quick and he's kind of just pushing as hard as he can to try and get that slowdown to go away, it's not really going to set up as...
Wyatt Smith dives to his inside. They're going to make contact again. Wyatt Smith, the bulldozer here tonight, as Zaidi on his outside clears him now. Zain Zaidi second, Wyatt Smith in third. They are 7 seconds back from Alex Penn, as we're going to be coming to 6 to go this time. Wow.
Now watch out for this heading into turn 12. Maybe a dive bomb here from the 69 of Smith, but no, it looks like Zaidi gets in a little bit better on the brakes compared to the 69, but watch into turn 13 here. We've seen a couple of moves from the 69 of Smith, and it looks like he will be going for a move that Zaidi in the 11 gets in a little bit deep heading into 13 there, and now through 14 into 15. This is a difficult passing opportunity. Zaidi blocks the move.
Smith into the back of Zaidi again.
Oh, man.
Wow. Wyatt Smith has used that bumper tonight more than I've ever seen in a race, including at some short track racing that we've called together, Nick. I don't think I've ever seen a bumper used so much in a race.
No, I mean, not even at the Sara Fall Brawl did we see bumpers being used this much, which I know you and I were both on the call for, and it wasn't even this bad with the bumper. But of course, Wyatt Smith not really caring about that, as he's in second position right now, and I don't think he really cares who he ticks off.
Absolutely not. As Wyatt Smith second, Zain Zaidi there in third. Brandon Define's been able to close that gap a little bit. He's about 4 seconds back, but you have to wonder if Zaidi might end up diving right back at him. You got to remember earlier on tonight, Zain Zaidi absolutely wrecking balled that 69 of Wyatt Smith after Smith turned the 11 of Zaidi after some contact into turn number one.
Man.
Oh, there it is. Both drivers do go around, as Divine gonna end up catching them here. Actually, I believe Wyatt Smith was able to continue on. Zaidi does as well. Somebody lost a bumper, it looks like. I think that might be off the Wyatt Smith machine, but loading up the Maconi replay machine here. Riding on board with Zain Zaidi, Nick. You see him coming up on Wyatt Smith. Smith hits the curbing. Zaidi hits Smith and goes around. I think Zain Zaidi got the worst of that, though.
Yeah, for sure. Wyatt Smith got very lucky there with the way he hit the curb, and I don't think if Zain Zaidi was there to kind of straighten him out with hitting him there, I think that Wyatt Smith may have been going for a ride there. And man, Wyatt Smith better be counting his lucky stars right now, because he would be back around where Zain Zaidi is, as he is.
There we go.
Rear bumper. And if we do get another full course caution, that's really going to hurt the 69.
Yeah, 69 definitely does not have any more fast repairs to use tonight. As you see just behind him there, Brandon Devine, Zain Zaidi duking it out for position number 3. Colin Grace getting into the picture as well. That's 3rd, 4th, and 5th. As Dylan Benson has an issue towards the tail of the field. He has brought it pit side in that 41 machine, but it's Penn, Smith, Devine, Zaidi, and Grace, the top 5, as we're going to face 5 to go this time for your leader, Alex Penn, and he has a 15-second lead.
Yeah, he's now just coming out of the final corner while these guys are still working their way through the triple right-hander, and Alex Penn running at 2:18.6 there in terms of lap time. So I think he's been told to just kind of calm down a little bit and just try to get this thing towards the end, because the way these guys have been racing for about second on back, there's not really any difficulties in trying to keep the gap not only growing, but just keep it stable, as Wyatt Smith had gotten very, very sideways coming out of turn number 20, and he almost looped it there, and it looks like he may be getting loose once again there, as it looks like those rear tires on the 69 are just absolutely shot right now.
And as you can see, Divine has Zayden Zadie behind him, but they are closing that gap on Wyatt Smith. About 1.2 seconds behind Smith is Divine. You see him closing in that gap here, struggling a little bit though, as he has Zadie all over the rear end. Now Zadie looks for a pass, not able to get there, as they continue to duke it out for third, trying to chase down the Wyatt Smith machine. The gap nearly 1 second. So Divine definitely closing in on the back end of Wyatt Smith, and we're going to have ourselves a battle here momentarily for second through fourth, as Zadie and Divine side by side. Zadie going to take it to the inside. Looks like Zane Zadie going to work back to third, and he's going to set his sights on his friend Wyatt Smith in the 69 machine.
Now, I'm kind of hoping that's a joke with the friend there, as these two have been at each other's throats all night, and I believe as Zane Zadie gets up to the 69 of Wyatt Smith, things are going to get very, 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 very interesting.
I don't think Zadie's going to bother lifting when he gets there. While he's here, Zane Zadie to the rear end of Wyatt Smith. That was very quick, as Zadie looking for the opportunity to get by Smith. He's going to get into the rear end of Wyatt Smith there.
Oh, yeah, he turns him.
Oh, you just great camera work right there, showing that steering wheel input by Zane Zadie. He decided that he had enough of Wyatt Smith here tonight, and I'm sure some of the other drivers, if they weren't struggling to handle their race cars, they'd be clapping at this point, because that 69 machine has been not so nice out on the racetrack this evening.
Yeah, and I can already tell you that Race Control was watching that one live, because right as that happened, we heard Matt Haas in the race control box say, "Chill, guys, this is not okay." And Zane Zadie has already been given a black flag for that. So Zane Zadie has 3 laps to come down pit road and serve that 40-second hold that he most likely has, or else he will be disqualified from this race.
Well, he's going to stay on the racetrack this time, the 11 of Zadie. He's going to have to come down and serve it within the next lap or so, which is about 2 to 3 minutes from now for Zane Zadie. But Brandon Devine kind of making that strategy work, Nick. You know, he stayed out on the last restart, hasn't pit since early on in tonight's race, now finds himself in second, about a second ahead of Zane Zadie, but Zadie gonna have to pit to serve the penalty, and behind him is Colin Grace about a second and a half back. So Devine looks like he might get himself a podium here just based off of an off pit strategy.
Yeah, and it's also a case of survival of the fittest. If you can, especially here at Circuit of the Americas, it's all about survival. Surviving all the chaos, surviving the restarts, surviving turn 1 even. If you can do that and just survive to the checkered flag, you more than likely have a very good shot at doing very, very good in terms of your overall finishing position. And I mean, I've had league races here at COTA. Matter of fact, I had a league race at COTA in the Cup car, which is a full-length race. It was a 67-lap race. I decided to start from the back, and I just survived, and I ended up winning that race by about 18 seconds. So, yeah, that just proves how consistent and how safe you need to be at a track. It's not about pace here at COTA. It's about surviving.
And that's a big thing when it comes to a lot of the technical road courses. It's all about your consistency and racing smart, keeping your car on the racetrack and not necessarily pushing it too hard, because there's a lot of opportunities on road courses to step off the racetrack, end up in the walls, end up off in a sand pit, and you could really ruin a great run with just a simple misstep. So just racing smart and consistent, definitely key, and that's what we've seen out of Alex Penn tonight. 25.5-second lead now over Zane Zadie, and Zadie's going to have to take it pit side soon enough to serve that penalty, as you do see Brandon Devine looking for an opportunity to get by. Devine going to take a dive to the inside. If I'm Zadie, I'm not necessarily going to risk getting wrecked here, knowing that I do have to come pit side. He's going to stay out once again, so you have to wonder if he's just going to try to run it to the end. But with a black flag, Nick, you only have 3 green flag laps to serve it. Otherwise, you'll be automatically disqualified by the iRacing service. So Zane Zadie playing a very risky game right now.
And with the way the penalty system works, where he got black flagged between turn 19 and turn 20. So effectively, he's on a second green flag lap right now. And as you said, he only has 3 green flag laps to serve that penalty. So if he doesn't come pit side either this lap or the next lap, he will be disqualified on 2 to go, which would be lap number 22, coming to the white flag on 23.
And as they run effectively, second place is Brandon Devine, as of course Zane Zadie going to have to serve that penalty. Colin Grace would be your third place finisher, and he's having himself a great run here tonight. Like I mentioned earlier, very quiet effort out of that 27 machine, but with the way this race has gone, I said it earlier, I'll say it again, quiet is the way that you want your race to be out here. He hasn't been involved in too much drama on the racetrack, kept his car relatively clean, and he's been consistently in or around the top 5 pretty much all night long, and it's going to pay off for him most likely with a podium finish. And I do say most likely because, again, anything can happen, as Wyatt Smith stepped off the racetrack a little bit further back but gathered it back up, as we're going to be facing 2 to go this time for Alex Penn, and he should be getting to that start finish line very, very shortly in that 30 machine.
Yeah, there's a saying, going back to the Colin Grace thing you were talking about, there's a saying I learned from a very good friend of mine, and the saying goes, race smarter, not harder. And that really works, especially at a road course like COTA. Like you were saying, as long as you keep your head on straight and you're not really getting into any trouble, you really shouldn't have any issue doing at least decently well when it comes to finishing position. So I think that's what Colin Grace is doing in that 27. He's racing smarter and he's not racing harder. Like we've seen some other people do tonight. They've been racing kind of hard and not really using their heads when it comes to the moves they're making.
And he's going to stay out once again. So this is the final lap that Zane Zadie has to serve that penalty. If he doesn't come down pit road coming to the white flag, he will likely be disqualified by the iRacing.com service and call an end to his night. But Nick, you had a great point there with your message. And I've been a team owner on iRacing for probably about 10 years now. And one thing I've always said to my drivers before every race is race smart, race clean, and be there at the end. That's something that I've always kind of lived by, even though I'm usually a wrecking ball on the racetrack. But someone like Colin Grace has put that to heart here tonight, and it's paying off for him as we ride on board with Brandon Devine. He's trying to close the gap on Zane Zadie. Just put a little bit of distance between himself and Colin Grace. That's about 4.5 seconds between those two right now. But every position will count on the racetrack. Devine takes a dive to the outside of the 11 of Zadie here. Zadie playing the protective lane here as Devine goes around. Brandon Devine oversteps and sideways he goes as Colin Grace going to work his way into third on the racetrack, which will effectively be second here momentarily. And Christian Barker going to start to close the gap on Brandon Devine. Still about 8 seconds distance between those two. But what an unfortunate event there for Brandon Devine. That allows Alex Penn to absolutely pull away from these guys. 33 seconds is the distance between first and second right now. And Penn getting very close to facing that white flag at what is one of the most technical racetracks on the schedule this season.
Yeah, he's coming up to turn number 20 here, and going through turn number 20 here, and coming up off turn 20 towards the front stretch. White flag will be in the air for the 30 of Alex Penn, and man, it has been an absolutely dominating performance from that 30 machine. He's got a upwards of a 30-second lead, and now we take a look back towards the 11 of Zane Zadie, who's coming through the triple right-hander. And this is effectively going to be the race for second here as he's doing a little bit of drifting there. Will the 11 of Zane Zadie come down pit road, as he's currently Tokyo drifting it, and it does not look like he will be coming down pit road. So effectively, Zane Zadie going to be disqualified from this race.
I think he knows he's getting disqualified because he just spun himself out right there in that 11 machine. So Zane Zadie, gotta wonder, maybe is he waiting for somebody, or is he just parking it on the racetrack and just taking on the observer's role? Because he is still sitting on the racetrack as Alex Penn works his way through his final lap. Penn a very strong driver that I've had the opportunity to race with. Zadie is mobile once again. The disqualification flag should be shown very shortly to Zane Zadie if it hasn't already. So expect him to disappear from our leaderboard momentarily, as it's Penn, Grace, and Divine, the top three, as they run currently out there on the racetrack. It does say Zadie, but of course that disqualification flag coming. But Penn leads, and he's getting set here shortly to take that checkered flag, Nick, and he's had a phenomenal run tonight.
Yeah, it's that going back to that race smarter, not harder thing. That's exactly what Alex Penn has done. He saw Wyatt Smith earlier in this race, how aggressive and how crazy he was going to be. And you know what exactly what Alex Penn did? He let him go. That is rule number one of racing. If you see someone who you think could possibly end your race, let them go, because eventually they will spin, they will crash, they will do something that will get you back past them. And Alex Penn has played that to perfection, as he's pulled over a 40-second gap over second place.
Alex Penn has run an absolutely flawless race here tonight. Had himself a couple incidents, but it doesn't matter now as he works his way off at turn number 20, coming to the checker. Oh, there's his mistake. Coming to the checkered flag this time. Alex Penn in the 30 takes victory. Here's the TKC Nationals live from COTA, and Alex Penn dominates over Colin Grace. Brandon Divine, as Grace gonna come around. He still's got a good chunk of a lap to go in that 27 machine, but great run for him. The quiet run is going to land him on that second step of the podium, as long as he's able to hold on to it here, Nick.
Yeah, and coming through, I believe this is turn number 19. Yeah, that's turn number 19, Whataburger Corner, as I like to call it. And then coming up into turn number 20, Colin Grace going to finish in second position tonight. A very consistent run from that 27 machine. He should be very happy with that second place finish.
Absolutely. With the race he's run here this evening, Colin Grace, a well-deserving runner-up tonight. Brandon Divine making pit strategy pay off. He's going to come home in third. And Christian Barker, he got airtime earlier tonight, and he's going to bring it home in position number 4, as Zane Zadie gonna drift it across the line. Wow. Yeah, Christian Barker, I do believe, is out of fuel, as Zane Zadie decides that he's gonna slam the wall. Kevin Aguilar gonna bring it home in position number 6, and that's gonna do it for the drivers that are gonna finish this one under green flag conditions here tonight. But Alex Penn, your winner.
Yeah, as you said earlier, just an absolutely dominating performance tonight. I mean, there's no way I can put enough emphasis behind the word domination, because he ended up winning by 45 seconds over the 27 of Colin Grace. And you know, that's almost unheard of in racing today. You don't see gaps that high in road race, especially in road racing. I mean, the most you would probably see is maybe 15 or 20 seconds at a road course, especially in like the NASCAR Xfinity or the NASCAR Cup Series. So to see a performance as dominating as what Alex Penn did tonight is almost a bit of a treat, because, I mean, again, you don't really see it. You really don't see that much.
We are going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll bring you the final results and talk to our podium finishers. It's the TKC Nationals live from COTA. Don't go anywhere.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
And we are back here at COTA. It's the TKC National Series here tonight. My name is Robert Hill Jr., and joining me for the call this evening was Nick Stein. Nick, we just saw a phenomenal race, and as you see the results here, Alex Penn taking the victory by 45.6 seconds over Colin Grace. Brandon Devine bringing it home third. Christian Barker finishing fourth tonight. Kevin Aguilar in fifth. Zane Zadie sixth, Wyatt Smith seventh after a rocky night tonight, you could say. Dylan Benson in eighth, Matt Haas in ninth, and Jake Ennis rounding out the top 10. We're going to have a chat here with our top 3 finishers. Why don't we go ahead and kick it off here with Brandon Devine, our third place finisher. Brandon, it's Robert Hill Jr. up in the booth. You got a copy?
I got a copy. How we doing tonight?
Well, first off, we're going to ask you, how are you doing? That was a wild race out there. Quite a bit of contact that we saw. You were involved in a couple scuffles, but able to use pit strategy there towards the end to come home in the third spot. Why don't you walk us through your race and some of the stuff you had to deal with?
Well, I wouldn't say it's strategy exactly, in my personal opinion. I think it's blind luck, but what can I say? It's a part of the sport. Congratulations to Alex Penn. He made the entire field look silly. But although he's a really talented driver, you got to give it to him. It was a tough race, especially because last week we DNF'd from Bristol due to a transmission failure. But to come home third at COTA, get some overall points and then get ready for Charlotte. I'm kind of just cruising right now. But yeah.
Now, fighting through adversity out there on the racetrack tonight, you got involved in some incidents early on. Did you think you had a shot at the podium when it came down to the finish of this one?
I think if I just simply kept cool and continued on, my goal was at least top 5 because although, yes, I do a lot of road course racing, being in this Xfinity car, any form of stock car on a road course, it's by far one of the most grueling challenges on iRacing, but I kept cool. I kept my head down. I played it smart. I let the other guys kind of take each other out, and in the end, it paid off.
And Brandon, before we get to your final shout-outs tonight, looking ahead to Charlotte, what's your outlook for that race? Do you think you have a shot at the victory?
It's the Coke 600. I'm going to put in some laps for that. Can't wait. I'm really excited for that and optimistic whether I win or lose.
Well, great run by you tonight, coming home in that third spot. Any final shout-outs from you, sponsors you want to thank, and people that might have tuned in for you?
I would like to thank, call me basic, but I'd like to thank Mom and Dad, Kart with Friends, Touring Kart Championship. Thanks, Matt Haas, for forming this, and great job to most of the field tonight. But that's really all I can think of.
Well, congratulations on the podium finish tonight, Brandon, and best of luck next week at Charlotte.
Thank you.
That was Brandon Devine, your third place finisher here. Now, moving along, we have Nick Stein standing by with our runner-up, Colin Grace.
Colin Grace, man, what a you had something that we really haven't seen tonight, which was a quiet race. I mean, we really didn't call your name that much other than you kind of just surviving throughout the night. And how does it feel knowing you finished second tonight at one of the trickiest road courses on the iRacing service?
Honestly, no idea how I managed because it was such a mess and I was just trying to handle it the entire time. I overheated the rear tires very quickly.
Yeah, that is one thing you really have to manage here is the rear tire temps, and knowing that you were able to manage that and survive all of the chaos that this race produced throughout the night, man. Looking forward to the next race. I believe it's Charlotte next Monday, and kind of walk us through what you're feeling for Charlotte, because I love Charlotte. It's one of my favorite oval tracks, especially in the Xfinity car. So how are you feeling for that one?
Feeling pretty good because I've ridden that track a lot with many different cars, so I feel like I can be quick. I just need to stay out of trouble.
And finally, before we let you go, is there anyone you have to thank? What kind of shout outs you got to give?
Well, shout out to TKC, obviously. Shout out to Maconi for hosting this, and then Matt Haas, my teammate in this series. Just he got out early and was just coaching me along the entire race.
Well, congratulations on the P2 tonight, Colin. We hope to see you next week at Charlotte.
All right, thank you.
That was Colin Grace, your second place finisher here tonight. Now up in here in the booth with us, Alex Penn. Alex, dominating performance by you tonight, running laps that rank among the quickest on the iRacing.com simulator. How good does it feel to get that victory?
Pretty happy about it, especially in my debut. I'm going to try and be here a bit more often now that I've got school finishing up, but it's definitely a fun race, especially on the start battling with Wyatt.
Now, what was it about this racetrack that really suits your style and helped you excel as well as you did out there tonight, really dominating, winning by 45 seconds over the rest of the field?
It's all on the rear tires. If you just focus on those, especially at the start of a run, on that first run, I was keeping an eye on Wyatt and saw he was burning up his rear tires a bunch, and I knew that, if I just saved my rear tires, he was going to come back to me, and that was kind of the story for the whole race tonight.
Absolutely, and I'm going to toss you over here to Nick Stein for any questions that he may have, but congratulations on the victory, Alex.
Thank you.
Well, Alex, we did see you run the fastest lap recorded in the Xfinity car at Circuit of the Americas. You beat the overall world record by just over 2/10. So how does it feel knowing you have an unofficial iRacing world record?
That makes me pretty happy. I'm going to be honest. That's a pretty cool thing to know.
Yeah, I believe you set a 2-minute 17.225, whereas the world record right now is a 2-minute 17.456 as of the official races earlier in the year. So, I mean, that's got to be a pretty gratifying feeling, knowing that you technically set an iRacing world record. But that's the only question I got for you, so I'll hand you back over to Robert.
Thank you.
Well, Alex, once again, congratulations on the victory. Before we let you go here tonight, looking ahead to next week at Charlotte, do you plan on being there, and do you think you have a chance to back up this victory with another one?
I'm going to try to be there, but I do not think I have a chance to back up the victory. I just blew up my car, so that's going to be a big bill for the guys next week. But I will definitely try to be there. I don't know if I'll be able to back this one up, though. I'll give it a shot.
Well, give it a shot is about all you can do. And any final shout outs from you, sponsors you want to thank?
Yeah, Skip Arbor Racing School on the car tonight. They taught me all the the road course stuff I know, and that definitely came in handy tonight. You guys for putting on the broadcast with Maconi Entertainment. The guys over at TKC for putting the whole thing on as well, and Team Cornerstone as well, who I race Xfinity cars pretty often with.
Well, congratulations on the victory. Glad to see you pick up a win in your debut, and we look forward to seeing what you can do in future rounds here in the TKC National Series.
All right. Thanks, guys.
That was Alex Penn, your winner here tonight. And looking ahead to Charlotte next week, Nick, we're going to have lots of action once again, beating and banging, maybe some drama renewed, but tune in for that one next Monday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Maconi Entertainment. And Nick, before we head off here tonight, any final thoughts from you on what we saw here tonight at COTA?
Oh, man, it was just, as I said earlier, it was just a game of survival tonight. We saw a lot of extracurriculars going on between about second on back. So I think that it was kind of a typical road course race. You had the one guy that was really, really quick all night, and then it was just pretty much chaos from second on back. So I think that's honestly a typical road course race for what you can expect on iRacing. But yeah, this is some final thoughts right there.
Well, you nailed it right there. Typical road course race where you have the dominant driver and the rest of the field, they put on one heck of a show all throughout, from Colin Grace all the way back to even Jake Ennis, who only ran one lap here tonight. Everyone was involved in a battle at some point here tonight, Nick, and they put on one heck of a show for the size of the field we had. But great show tonight. Glad everyone tuned in with us and had the opportunity to watch an absolutely dominating race by Alex Penn. Congratulations to himself, as well as Colin Grace and Brandon Devine on their podium finishes here tonight. But before we head off, once again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks to DJ Lyon for being our producer this evening. Nick Stein for joining me up here in the booth. My name is Robert Hill Jr., and on behalf of all of us here at Maconi Entertainment, we look forward to seeing you next time out, next Monday, 8:30 p.m., TKC National Series live from Charlotte. Be sure to be there. We'll be there too. We'll have some fun.